All right, so we're going into my office. This is gonna be the new Refusing to Settle studio. There's not much in here. I'm putting up the wallpaper. I decided not to paint it black. And if you're like, what the heck is this video, Clark? Well, I wanted to go over 5 things I journal about every single morning. And this taps into the law of attraction. This taps into manifestation. So with you, you can attract, you can achieve whatever you want. You know, if you told me a year ago I'd be here in this place, I would have said you were crazy. I was going through a really rough time. I was pretty depressed, coming off a tour, going all around the world playing music shows to like anywhere from 500 people to 5,000 to 35,000 a night. So when I came back and really had to analyze what I wanted to do with this business and, you know, my life, I was going through a rough time. And that's really where journaling came in. And so, I mean, journaling has been the #1 thing I've ever done for self-growth, for manifesting what I want in my life, to getting this house, apartment, dream complex, my car, all the physical stuff. But I think it's much more, it's deeper. It's the internal stuff that sometimes is unquantifiable, right? So I wanted to just give you a quick rundown of 5 things I journal on every single morning. So the very first thing I do, which is very easy for you to do, is I try to find at least 1 or 2 big ideas to journal on. And where I get these ideas are either from podcasts or books. Now right there is 1 box I was able to stuff in my Mustang. The others are on a U-Pod that's somewhere in Arizona. Don't get me started on that. And so what I do is I'll flip through a book and just try to get, some big ideas that I've either done in the past, that I've highlighted, underscored, and then I transfer it in the journal, which I'll show you in a little bit. Or I listen to podcasts kind of throughout the day during idle time. And one thing I do that's super cool, and I'll show you in just like 2 seconds here, this right here, the Notes app. And I just have a bunch of notes throughout podcasts, or if I'm sitting in the sauna, this is kind of like an on-the-go journal. And so I'll give you an example here. These ones come from podcasts that I've been listening to, right? And don't get too caught up on which ones to do and all this stuff. It's up to you, whichever ones work, whichever ones you like. And what I do is I put them in here. It's kind of geeky, but you know, we're journal nerds here, so it's all good, no judgment. Is I write a little title right here in blue of either where I got it from or the big concept. I'll give you an example. This one's on goals, ours versus the universe. I was either listening to a podcast or I had a note in my phone during a deep thought session. So what I do is I write that down there, and then I write a little bit about this. And so I like to do this first thing in the morning, spend about 10 to 20 minutes. There's no time frame here, however much or however little you want to do. And what I've found is that this is so easy to flip through and just quickly glance at this and instill it into your life. We have goals, but the universe has bigger goals. Don't you believe that? Like, you have all these goals of what you want to achieve. For me, you know, it's 1 million subscribers by X amount. It's X amount of dollars per year in my business. But the universe actually has bigger ones than we think. So sometimes not getting the thing that we think is actually part of the bigger picture, part of the universe, part of the bigger plan. And that if we got our goals, it would actually take us off track. So this is very, very meta. The universe knows best. God, creation, whatever you want to call it, your higher self. There's some grand picture here, and it's our job to move towards it. Okay? That's the only thing. So look, I know I'm ranting here, but let me just illustrate this since we're on this little flip through action here. Let me know if you like this in the comments, okay? So we have our actual action right here, and we have the potential. This is what the universe wants us to get to, right? Is our untapped potential right here, and I'll do a much longer video on this. Here's our actions. So we have a gap in between right here that we need to bridge. So you have your actions, the gap, and then your potential. Sometimes we can't see this right here because this is where we're at. So this is where goals are, but this is where the universe is. It's saying, hey, get to here, get to here. This is your big picture. But this gap is where everything creeps in, like anxiety, depression, addictions, comparison, and it stops us from this. It keeps us here. Or I would even put sometimes like low-level goals they get here. So we think we want something in here, but what we actually need is on this side. And so sometimes not getting these and going through them, in this case, you know, this stuff right here creeps in when we're not reaching our potential, is actually part of the bigger picture. Sometimes we think we can only get to here, But the universe is saying, don't give him that G, because he needs to get to the A, the P, and then finally the potential. Hope that makes sense. Little rant there. Next thing, it's very simple. This is gratitude. I always go back to, if we're talking manifestation, law of attraction here, everyone's so focused on what they want to get. I want this car, I want this house, I want this money. That's okay, because I think that's a very entry-level thing. And we eventually evolve, and then you need less and less as you get more and more, is what I'm learning in my life, okay? So we're focused on what we want to get, the car, the house, the dream partner, whatever. But how many times are we actually thankful for what we have? And I know this is a cliche. I know that, you might be like, oh yeah, that's obvious. But man, if I was God, the universe, higher self, whatever word you want to use there, and I was giving so much to somebody and they didn't say thank you, how's that going to make you feel? Like, I wouldn't want to keep giving to them, right? So from a very simple standpoint, do you want to be like a spoiled child who's like, gimme, 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 gimme? Or do you want to be someone who's like a grateful student? That's the frame I use. So when you tap into gratitude, I believe that you're saying, thank you, this stuff I did not deserve. The stuff that maybe I didn't earn or I worked towards, but I had some help along the way. I love that in my journal. So gratitude, huge thing I do in the morning. Ooh, this one's gonna be stressful for you. I'll try to make it as little stress as possible. This is my version of a to-do list. Now, I talk about this in my new course, Morning Ritual Secrets, which shows you 7 days exactly how to set up your own morning ritual. It's fantastically priced right now because we just launched it. It's not gonna be that cheap forever, but it's in the link below if you want some more details on it. I walk you through this on day 6 of 7 of creating your own custom routine. Okay, so if you're like, whoa, too fast, that course goes way more in depth. But anyway, a little overview of this if you just want to get started. This is how I plan my weeks. So I don't do to-do lists anymore because I find that that's never ending. You're always going to have more things on the to-do list, right? And I think that can actually stress you out. Like, you say you want to do something Wednesday, you don't get to it, which is normally the most important thing that we avoid. And so we punt it to Thursday. And then it just goes on, and then Thursday you have 40 things, and then Friday you have 50 things, and it just gets frustrating and can really make you depressed in a weird roundabout way. So ditch that. What I do is a weekly priority list. Okay, so I split the page in half, and then I have 5 or 6 sections of stuff I need to get done that week. And I revisit this every day in the morning. Highly recommend you do the same. Okay, if everything went to hell in a handbasket today, and you got like 1 or 2 things done, what are those 1 or 2 things that would be like, yes, I nailed it? That's the kind of stuff we're putting on here. So for me, I mentioned that Morning Ritual Secrets course. I'm not trying to plug it anymore. It just fits right here. I have a lot of stuff in creating that course. There's stuff like editing, filming, optimizing, writing the emails, doing the boring stuff, right? But that needs to get done so you guys can get the course and be in it and start getting all the awesome stuff we put in there. It's epic. So I had to put all that stuff here to keep on track. Is this making sense? All right, is this too geeky? Let me know. But I know this is a mess, but it's my journal, and when it's your journal, you can make it as messy as you want. So whatever that is for you, not gonna berate the point. I do a priority list. That's the 3rd thing I do in the morning. Let's get some weird shots. Literally have no furniture, so I have to use my step ladder. The next thing is just revisiting your big goals. So if you're familiar with this journal, in the back section right here, the very back cover, we have our work, rest, and play goals. I've showed you this multiple times in the Ultimate Guide to Keeping a Journal. I like to revisit these every single day because it just makes you realize what's most important for you that year. So failing to prepare is preparing to fail. That's the 4th thing I do. Revisiting the big goals in the back takes like 3 minutes. And then the very last thing I do is follow a rule that I love. It's called create before you consume. Because when you start consuming content, you're putting so many people's thoughts in your head, and it's really hard to create when you have all this noise and chatter in there, right? I know you can relate to that. So what I've done is I've mapped out right here, refusing to settle. This is business development. This is video ideas for the YouTube channel. Okay, so videos like this. So what I like to do is flip open right here, and I just start going on what would be a good video idea. So right here, I know you can't see this, that's not the point, but I have that same format I did in number 1, right? Where I'm writing the big idea and then some bullet points on it. I have just some points on what would be a good idea for a YouTube video. So stuff like the accomplishment board videos in here. I'm not gonna get into this because you've seen the product of all these videos on this channel. So that is the last thing I do, is I create before I consume. So for you, what is that? Let me know in the comments below. What's one way you could create something? Whether that's content, whether that's a vision, whether that's art, what are you gonna create before you start consuming? If you do that one thing, that will drastically change. Guys, if you like this video, I wanna invite you to go to morningritualsecrets.com and pick up our course, Morning Ritual Secrets. It's super affordable, literally less right now. I don't know if it'll be that way forever, but less than the cost of like a dinner. Okay, so yeah, that course is gonna give you everything you need for 7 days, custom, step-by-step morning ritual, not a routine. Huge difference between a routine and a ritual. Okay, routines are something that everybody has, even if they're good or bad. Like checking your phone first thing in the morning, waking up, watching the news, that's a routine. That's not good. Rituals are so important. I studied this for months, did this in my life, really geeked out, and it was like the number 1 thing I did this year besides journaling that really had a massive impact. Okay, so I jam-packed the most powerful stuff I found through research of morning rituals that people have. People like Steve Jobs, Oprah, Barack Obama, Ellen DeGeneres, Tony Robbins, like all these people you wouldn't even think of, they have morning rituals. And so what we did is I put all the best stuff that works in there, some ancient stuff, some modern stuff, and it's kind of a hybrid course that I know will help you crush this year, next year, and beyond. So if you like that, that's down below. And guys, I will see you in the next video. Until then, stop settling, start living. See ya.